Hi, my name is Will Hecht. I'm running for the Blue Springs School District Board of Education. April 5th is the election. I would really appreciate anyone and everyone coming out and giving me your support with your vote. I am an accountant here in Blue Springs. I have 4 kids that are in the district. I've always had a passion for giving back and for helping out any way that I can. And I look forward to trying to do just that on the Board of Education.
Hi, my name is Nick Bleess. I'm the proud father of 2 children in the Blue Springs School District, as well as the husband of a former Blue Springs School District teacher. I currently work as a CPA, and I supervise a team of 4 auditors who audit businesses ranging from mom and pop shops to multi-billion-dollar companies. I'm a former Teamster union representative and spent years advocating for workers' rights, negotiating contracts, and mediating interpersonal conflicts. I believe diversity is a strength. The professional diversity I bring as a CPA and auditor will strengthen the overall skill set of our board, especially as our board works to ensure that district funds are being used efficiently and effectively. The communication skill set I've developed as a union rep will also be an asset to our board, as I feel there's much improvement to be made in the communication process between our board and the teachers, parents, and students of our community.
Hello friends, my name is Rhonda Gilstrap and I am excited to be seeking re-election to the Blue Springs Board of Education. I would like to thank the organizations of CEA and NEA for providing us this opportunity to communicate our thoughts, our heart, and our desire to serve. It's been an absolute joy to support our students and staff as they work to achieve excellence. The last few years have been unprecedented with navigating the pandemic and working to keep students in the classroom. There are not enough words of gratitude for our district administration, teachers, and all staff who have moved mountains and dedicated themselves to ensure our students experience success and reach their full potential. I would love the opportunity to continue this journey with our current board as we work together to have ears to listen to the needs of students, staff, and community, eyes to see the vision of our leadership, and feet to forge the path ahead. Thank you for allowing me to serve each and every one of you.
Hello, I'm Bobby Hawk, and I am a current member of the Blue Springs Board of Education seeking re-election to the school board. I'm not only a proud alumnus of this school district, a parent that has a daughter in 6th grade and an incoming kindergartner this year, former business partner, still a current business partner of the school district, but I'm just proud to be on the school board because together we as a school district have walked through some extremely challenging times these past 3 years. In fact, I reflect back and I think about the incredible opportunity and high honor that it's been, but it's not been without its challenges, as you as educators certainly know. I can think back to the completion of one bond issue to the almost immediate initiation of another bond issue to address growth and some of the needs in our school district. I certainly can look to adding a diversity team as we reflected and listened to some of the students and some of the concerns of those that were not as represented in our school district as they needed to be. I can think back to some of the positions that we've been able to add and some of the positions we've tried to make sure that we could keep, as well as transition of a superintendent and the new superintendent hiring process, which we landed with Dr. Bob Jerome, and I'm super happy about that. All of that on top of the normal school board responsibilities, and then we were hit with COVID. And I don't have to remind you how challenging the last 2 years have been, but I can say it's been an honor to serve alongside so many wonderful people in this school district, from administrators to teachers to staff, to those in central office, to those that have been driving buses and preparing meals. Everybody has come together to pull their weight through a very difficult pandemic. Has it been perfect? No. And I'm sure as we reflect back, there's always things that we would love to do differently, maybe even change. But together as a school district, we've continued to be one of the best school districts in the state, the best on this side of the state, and I'd like to continue to serve in this role so together we can continue to be the Blue Springs School District that we're known for. Thank you.
So our board has the final say, or gives the final okay to any curriculum decisions. As far as influencing curriculum decisions, I feel our board should continue to delegate that responsibility to our professional educators. We need to continue letting our professional educators do what they do best, which is to make the best decisions for our students. At the last work session, I was able to hear Dr. Johnson kind of work through the process that he goes through to vet curriculum for our schools. And I'll tell you, I'm sold. It was very thorough. He included different staff and teachers in the process. And I am fully confident that moving forward, our professional educators will continue to make excellent curriculum decisions for our school.
The board's role in influencing curriculum decisions is that of sending it back to curriculum instruction. Our district, like any other district in the state of Missouri, must first and foremost follow the Missouri Learning Standards for the requirements for curriculum. When it, say if it's a book or a particular subject, those areas are vetted through committees first and through whatever department that curriculum is associated with. And once those committees can vet whatever curriculum is coming through or down the pike that maybe the district wants to use, then it is then brought to the board for informational purposes for the most part. We have complete trust in our curriculum and instruction department and area for the best decisions for our students.
The board's role in influencing curriculum decisions is actually pretty simple. We do not decide the curriculum for our schools specifically. A lot of that is already pre-decided. There are certain national state standards that have to be met. Teachers certainly have levels of flexibility, as they should, as they teach their curriculum. And there's an entire department that we pay called Curriculum and Instruction. And it's their job, it's not the board's role to micromanage that. Now, there's a process for concerns by which parents can take, but it does have to go through that process. And that process is there for a reason. It's to make sure that we are protecting the integrity of our curriculum while also allowing and affording our teachers the ability to teach within those parameters what they feel best covers their subject. And I think the board's role needs to continue to be to advocate for that process and to make sure that we're not overstepping our bounds while listening to a parent's concern, if and only if it goes through the proper channels and escalates to the board's role.
The board's role in influencing curriculum decisions, it's not necessarily as hands-on as I originally, and it seems like a lot of people kind of think. The state ends up kind of handing down certain specifications that we have to follow, and then it's our job to make sure that kind of the individual schools, the teachers, that they're kind of following and kind of checking all those boxes so that we kind of fulfill what we need to do to make sure that the students that we have are able to graduate and do the best they can kind of in their later life.
I am so proud of our Board of Education. All 7 of us are very engaged when it comes to communicating with our legislators. We make trips to Jefferson City. We attend the legislative breakfast that's held once a month on Fridays that is held by the chamber. We communicate with them. It's important that we build relationships with them so that they can hear our hearts. It's also important for them to realize as elected officials that school board members are the largest group of elected officials in any state, and that we do have a voice and we do use it. And like I said, I'm very grateful for our board as a whole, it seems to be that we are a team in that effort, and we will advocate for students and staff.
Well, we've continued to advocate, and I know myself, along with several board members for the past 3 years, have had not only individual conversations, small group conversations, even large group conversations with those in power in Jeff City. And to be totally honest, that's why a school board needs to be nonpartisan. People working together to do what's best for kids, what's best for students, what's good for staff, teachers, and administration, not what's best for an agenda on either side. Things like open enrollment are very harmful for a school district. For the sake of time, I don't have the time to explain all the reasons why, but simply it's not in the best interest of our education process to have open enrollment. Virtual instruction also creates a challenge. We have seen through our own process the importance of having teachers in front of students. And any other agenda being pushed from Jeff City, listen, as board members, we don't like mandates being forced on us, and we will continue to stand up, whether Republican or Democrat, whoever's making those policy decisions, to do what's best for our staff and students.
Whenever I've been asked about things like open enrollment or some of the current bills and whatnot that are being kind of talked about in the Missouri government, at first blush, it's definitely very attractive to be able to say, okay, I have kind of as much kind of discrepancy as I want to be able to decide where my child goes to school. But whenever I end up kind of looking a little bit deeper and start kind of realizing some of the ramifications of, okay, if a lot of students end up trying to leave the district, that can have a negative impact on how we're able to provide for the students and for the teachers, the staff, that we try and make sure to take care of as much as we can. And so any kind of bills that are in regards to kind of those topics, they definitely need to be looked at very closely to make sure that we're not, trying to make promises that really will end up hurting us in the long run.
We need to maintain our local control. Year in and year out, the Blue Springs School District is one of the top in the state for a reason. We have great educators, we have great parents, we have a great community. We need to make sure that our representatives in Jeff City understand that we have things under control. As far as advocating goes, we need to reach out to our community when bills are floating through in Jeff City and let them know specifically how those bills will negatively impact our districts and our students. Working together, we can help fight the assault on public education and help better ensure that bills that will negatively impact our district do not get passed.
The district's budget right now currently, approximately 80% of that goes to people. And that's what's most important to protect. Now, the other 20%, I'll be honest, there's not a lot of liberty in. I mean, we have to pay our bills. We have to pay utility bills, things like that. But when it comes to the school district, protecting the investment in our people make the Blue Springs School District the destination district. So focusing on the recruitment and retention of teachers, to making sure that our bus drivers, our aides, anyone that works for our district, people are our #1 priority. And so most importantly, we have to protect that. If we can find ways to cut costs, it should never be with people.
For district expenditures, first and foremost, we would always want to make sure that we're making sure that we have the available funds to cover whatever's needed for our students and for our teachers. Just because, I mean, the teachers are kind of the very important commodity that are not easily replaceable. And they're the ones that we're entrusting kind of our students, our children, our young minds to, so that they're able to kind of go out into the world and kind of be as happy and prosperous as they can. And so we want to make sure that, first and foremost, that those things are being taken care of financially. I mean, just being able to look at any budget, I mean, there's always places where there are, wasteful expenditures. I mean, not not purposeful, but it happens whenever we start looking at office expenses and things like that. So we'd be able to kind of take a look at the budget and see where we can try and tighten things up to make sure that we're having our priorities straight.
The most important area to protect would be teacher salaries. We can cut supply accounts or even programs and later bring those back if we get more funding. But the thing that's irreplaceable would be a good teacher. As far as what cuts to make, every budget has inefficiencies. So I think we would need to sit down with administration and create a priority list of those budget items that we would want to cut first. Start at the top. I think excess supplies that we can maybe get by without using in the classroom would probably be on the top of that list. We definitely would want as much input from our teachers, our administration, and even our parents when we're creating this priority list. But working together, we can ensure that we are protecting the most important line items on that budget in the event of any shortfall.
For savings, we are a very fiscally conservative district, and we protect our debt service. We protect our taxpayers and the expectation that they have in the money that's coming out of their pockets for the school district. So we've kept our levy at the same amount for the last 15 years, actually longer than that. But as far as expenditures that we protect, definitely salaries for our staff. They deserve the best, and we will continue to listen to the Blueprint Committee and the Salary and Welfare Committee and hear their recommendations for how we can best meet the needs of our teachers, our entire staff, and their salaries.
Standardized tests, I mean, you get what you ask. And so if you're asking a specific question, then, I mean, you may get the answer to that question, but it's by no means kind of the actual full picture of kind of what really matters for students and their progress, or for teachers and kind of how we're able to kind of evaluate their performance and their ability to kind of do their job and, I mean, be able to teach our children. So standardized tests, they have to be taken kind of with the knowledge that they're only as good as kind of the questions that they ask. And so there's always room to be able to look for different ways of interpreting those or different questions to ask so that we get a better overall picture.
It's hard to quantify in a standardized test the overall achievement our students have in our schools. Because not only are we learning academically, we're also learning socially. We're involved in sports, the arts. So while standardized tests are important as a benchmark to see how we're rating, maybe with other districts, I don't think we should put all of our focus just on that one single number, because there's so many other different aspects in the education of our kids that we really need to take into account.
When I think about standardized testing, I think that it's a measure, but I also think that those measures are also made available just through our teachers and the relationship that they have with their students. I remember a couple of years ago, I guess it's been more than a couple, but the end-of-course assessment that was mandated for us to use. And our district actually wrote a resolution to come against that, because we felt like our teachers and our educators were the best to know how to end that course with our students. So there's good and there's positives. I think that our district does an incredible job of preparing our students, and they will bring those students up to their full potential.
Standardized tests have their role, and we understand that we have to do certain standardized tests to meet state criteria, which also, of course, involves our funding. However, I think we always have to be careful that we don't allow the standardized tests to take away from the educational process for students. Simply teaching to a test, I think, can limit not only a teacher, but it limits the student's ability to learn. And that's why I think standardized tests, while they serve a purpose, they certainly should not serve the only purpose. It's always a concern if we become so linear focused that all we do is teach to a test and miss out on the opportunities to teach kids more than just simply what the test will cover, making sure they're well-rounded in their educational experience in the Blue Springs School District.
The number one priority I would have, if elected to the board, would be to open up more direct lines of communication with the teachers and the parents of our district so that we can better understand their specific needs. That being said, the number one concern that I've heard from parents over the past several months deals with the issue of bullying. We need to resolve this issue because it negatively impacts the physical and mental health of our students and also negatively impacts their ability to learn. We need to take action on this issue immediately and take all the steps necessary to resolve the issue once and for all.
If I'm reelected to the Blue Springs School District Board of Education, my number one priority, there's so many, but I guess I would focus on the main one being supporting our teachers, teacher retention, teacher recruitment, teachers' mental health, supporting our students' mental health, and what we can do to help them in any way possible. The last 2 years have been unprecedented, and the pandemic has taken a toll. Our staff has just moved mountains to make sure our students can reach their full potential, and I want to protect that with all my heart.
If reelected to the Blue Springs School Board, it's hard to narrow down one priority, but I will say this, that I am greatly concerned that we face part 2 of the pandemic, which I would just simply say is the mental health of our staff, mental health of our students. While these issues have existed for a long time, they have certainly been magnified through this pandemic, and we have to make sure that we have the support available for everyone and specialists available for those who need it most. We've taken some steps towards this as a board already, and if I'm elected to the board, one of the things that I want us to continue to focus on is how do we, in an ongoing way, support the mental health for our students. There are many challenges, but that's one, and then that leads to the mental health of our staff. If we don't have staff that feel mentally healthy, how can they educate young minds the way they need to? So there are many challenges in our district moving forward, some we're not even aware of, but the one that I want us to make sure we continue to focus on is mental health for staff and students.
If I'm elected to the school board on April 5th, my number one priority is first and foremost always going to be the students, the staff, the district, just because, I mean, that's the whole point of it. Making sure that we're preparing our students for life after school, making sure that we're making a memorable experience for them while they're kind of in our district, in our schools. A lot of times people get a little distracted with looking at kind of one thing or another that aren't necessarily extremely focused on that single priority. And I hope that I'm able to really kind of keep that focus where it belongs.
Let me take a moment in this closing to simply say thank you to those of you educators who are taking the time to watch this. First of all, thank you for being interested in this forum and interested in those who have the opportunity to serve on the Board of Education. It's an important role, one that I don't take lightly, and I'm just grateful for your time. I'm also grateful for certainly the past 2 years and the extra effort, the attention, the time that you've put in. It has not been easy. I'm proud of our board. I'm proud of our district for how we've come together. As a team, we've navigated this perfectly, no, but we've navigated this together. I want us to continue to focus on that team concept. So I'm going to just simply remind you of 4 areas of focus for me as a board member moving forward if reelected. The T is for teachers and staff. As I've mentioned, recruitment and retainment is so important for us. We have to focus on how can we do that, how can we guard the budget in order for that to happen. We need to look at educational pathways. That's the E. The educational pathways are about innovation. I'm excited about the new opportunities we'll have with the Freshman Center, but it's also about intervention. And our interventionists, I believe, have been helpful, and I want to make sure we continue to close those gaps for students who need it most. The A is allocation of resources. A question was asked about budgets, and certainly we have to focus on budgets and bonds and how do we best take care of the people we have, but also address the needs that are upcoming with growth. And the last one is mental health. And I've shared about mental health, but it's certainly the support and the specialists needed to make sure that our staff and students are taken care of. Again, I have a daughter in this district and a daughter coming in. I'm an alumnus of this district. I love the Blue Springs School District. It would be an honor to continue to serve as together we, as a team, face these challenges that are ahead of us, the ones that we know and the ones that we don't know. So I would love an opportunity to serve another 3 years in this role in the Blue Springs Board of Education. I'd appreciate your vote and support on April 5th. And thank you for all that you do for students in the Blue Springs School District.
As we conclude our time here today and the opportunity to communicate with many of you in the Blue Springs School District, I would like to take this moment to again extend my gratitude to both NEA and CEA for organizing this event. I leave you with this. Our district continues to blaze a trail and be the shining example to many in the metropolitan area and the entire state. You and the administration worked diligently, led the way through a pandemic for our students and each other. You went the distance and moved mountains to help students persevere, conquer obstacles, and propel them towards reaching academic excellence. I want to assure you that my commitment to the Blue Springs School District in my role as a board member will never waver. It is my sincere hope that the proven leadership provided through the past few years would continue into the future. I humbly ask for your vote to re-elect Rhonda Gilstrap on April 5th. Thank you.
Our family moved to the Blue Springs School District 9 years ago because we wanted our children to grow up in this district. We were very, very happy with that decision. While we have one of the highest rated districts in the entire state, I do believe there's room for improvement. And to reach that improvement, we have to open up more lines of communication with our parents and our teachers. We have to change our leadership style of one of command and control. We know best, do what we say, to one of communication and collaboration, where we ask and solicit input from our parents and our teachers. I truly believe that open communication and collaboration with the parents, teachers, and the students of our district is the path towards positive change. I'm Nick Bleess, and I would appreciate your vote on April 5th.
Again, my name is Will Hecht. I'm running in the April 5th election for the Blue Springs School District Board of Education. Firstly, I'd like to thank everyone who has taken the time to help make this possible, from those who encouraged me to run and gave me kind of the belief and support, to the ones who are giving me this opportunity to be able to kind of get recorded and put my thoughts out there and my opinions out there on these very important topics. As a parent of 4 kids in the district, I'm very kind of connected with the district, and so I have a lot of kind of investment to make sure that this district continues to kind of be one of the best districts in Missouri. And if I'm elected on April 5th, I will do my best to kind of serve my 3-year term and to make sure to keep the focus of the children and the staff, the teachers, the focus, and not let anything kind of distract us from being able to make sure that our kids are able to graduate and have great lives after high school.